Okay, so we get straight. Okay, what's up, guys? Tonight I am bringing you guys a new video. I don't know when it's gonna be out, and this is gonna be probably the last video in maybe like a month or two in this space, because I'm doing like a lot of renovations and a whole bunch of stuff's gonna come in here for my house. But regardless of that, today's video, what I really want to talk about with you guys is navigating the workplace as a homosexual, or even like other, or like any LGBT. Like, I can't speak for like every single person in the community. I can only speak for like the gays, the gay male that I am. I can only speak from that experience in the certain places that I've worked at. So for the most part, I've really only worked in like a food-based setting. So I usually like would go for bakeries and like supermarkets. That's kind of my niche thing that I like to go for. I just learned that just works for me in terms of what I really want to do in like a career that works for me right now. Like, I really want to be like an artist, but I'm working towards that. But for now, this is kind of what I do. So for I want to say for like the last 6 years, I've been out in the workplace. Like, I just let it be known, and I think overall, like, I've had a lot of positive experiences. Like, yes, it can be annoying at times, like there are stupid people that you have to deal with, but I kind of feel like it is actually better to just be yourself at work versus constantly have to like prove some shit that you're not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a headache to like do the freaking mental gymnastics people want you to do when they don't really know the truth about you. So I'm gonna break this video down in 3 categories, which is friendship, conflict, and love interest. So, and like, of course we're gonna talk about like work and stuff like that, but I feel like your work ethic that varies on person to person. So that's not really like, you know, that's not really necessarily have to do with like being gay. Like, you can be gay in a good worker, be gay in a bad worker. So that's kind of irrelevant to what we are trying to discuss today. But I really want to discuss friendship because I feel like I've made a lot of really good, genuine friends over the years because I was just able to be honest with people. And even like friendships that I might not like talk to people now, or like we might not be as close as we used to, I think in the moment where we were working, it was a great vibe and I really enjoyed that time together. And I think this is why it's so important, in my honest opinion, to be honest with yourself and honest with other people. If it's not a super toxic environment, or if you know what I'm saying, I live in downstate New York, so you know, we have things to protect us against discrimination and things like that. And even still, like, I still had shit happen to me, and I'm gonna get into that as well. But for the most part, you know, like, there isn't, when it comes to work, like, you're there to work and get the job done, and you know, like, the jokes and all that comes second. But those do help the job move quicker, and working with people that you get along with makes everything go smoother. So when I say, like, I'm a person, I love to talk, I love to joke around with people. Like, I would hate to be like, if I'm working with people and they don't talk, I'm gonna fucking die. Like, I swear to you, like, I hate that shit so much. I need people to talk around with, to joke around with, like, yo, like, what happened, what's up, like, what's good. Like, that's me. I love to socialize with people. Like, sometimes I can be a little bit shy at first, but like, once you get to know me, like, I'm a talker. So that was super important to me when it comes to being out in the workplace, because at a certain point, I remember with my first job, like, people kept asking me, because, you know, there was like the joke, oh, he's a virgin because he's from Virginia, and there's like this old man, like, he jokes around with everybody, he's so fucking annoying. But like, you know, what can I do? You know, I want to beat up an old man. So like, I had a coworker asking, like, hey, like, are you gay? Because like, he was saying some shit, and she was just like, what? And then she just asked me, like, hey, like, are you gay? I'm just like, yeah, I am. And for a long time, I used to like not say, like, no, I'm not, like, nah, what you talking, like, I would like not like hardcore deny it, but I would try to like avoid people asking me stuff like that. But it got to a point where I'm just like, yeah, I am. And then everybody's like, oh, you are? I'm like, yeah, I am. And I think after like the first initial shock value, it was kind of like, okay, cool. And that's kind of when I realized, oh wow, it's not as bad as I would think it would be. And that's when I started to really let go of that fear of people just having something against me because I'm gay or some shit like that. It really was relieving, to be honest with you. And I think because I was able to be honest with people and communicate and really express how I really feel about a lot of things, I was able to really meet genuine people, make genuine friends, and I wouldn't have to worry about hiding things from people or feel like, oh, if this person knew this about me, they wouldn't like me. All that shit is out the door. All that shit is out the door. And I know some of you guys aren't, exactly out in the workplace, or maybe out in the home, or whatever your situation is, or maybe only a few friends know about you. I feel like work is one of those places where you kind of just have to like bite the bullet and just be like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Like, what's the worst? Somebody don't like me, okay. But for the most part, I've had a positive experience being out in the workplace, and I'm not telling everybody to do this. If you feel comfortable doing it, if you feel like you're in a good environment that's geared towards positivity and bringing you up and all that shit, you know what I mean, then do it. Be honest with people. And sometimes, a lot of times, people try to use it against you, and that's kind of another reason why I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna be honest with people, because like, I don't want people to throw it in my face like, oh, like, you gay, da da da. And I'm just like, as like trying to insult me, and I'm like, wait, like, what if I actually am? You know what I'm saying? Because some people like to do that. But overall, I've had a positive experience in the workplace. I've made great friends, and it's just really helped me elevate my life, because you can make, like, and I'm only talking about like this in terms of like a socializing aspect, because you will really truly make a lot of great friends at work, and you want to be as honest as you possibly can, as humanly possibly can, about who you are, what kind of person you are, X, Y, and Z. And it just really attracts the people that want to be with you and like you for who you are and appreciate you and celebrate you. So for that reason, I'm gonna be like super, I'm gonna be super encouraging. Like, if you feel like you would like to be out in a workplace, I would encourage people to do it. Like, if you feel safe and comfortable in that area, then do it. And you know what's the craziest part? Last thing on the friendship part, because I do have one friend, like, we met at work and we're still friends to this day, and like, that's one of my super close friends. But one thing I always thought, I was gonna get so much negativity, because I was in a very, very really harsh workplace in terms of what went on. Like, it was the Wild Wild West of this job. Like, for real, like, anything goes. People curse each other out. Like, it could get there. Not every time, but like, it was a very, very guns blazing kind of place. So people will say whatever the fuck they want to you. You could not be thin skinned. You had to be tough skinned. You could not be no bitch rolling up in that workplace. You had to be tough and know how to take some jokes, take some shit talk. And I really appreciate working in that environment. Granted, I didn't appreciate everything about that job, but one thing I would always appreciate about that shit, it taught me to learn how to take it. So when people say you can dish it but can't take it, I can dish it and take that shit, because I've been through it. Now back to part 2, which is conflict. Now, I've had my share of conflict with people because they didn't like me because I was gay, and they had some weird obsession with me and all that shit. And I'm gonna break it down for you guys. I'm not somebody that, like, yo, like, square up, like, yo, y'all, look at these noodle arms. I gotta go to the gym. But I'm not somebody that's like, I don't consider myself like super tough guy or nothing like that, like, at all. But as I got older in life and graduating from high school, I had to learn, like, yo, like, you gotta speak up for yourself. You have to be able to to stand up for yourself and, you know, advocate for yourself and really like hold yourself down. Like, you know, sometimes it feels scary to do that, but I'm telling you, sometimes you need to. And, you know, like I said, I'm not somebody where I'm just like, yo, I'm trying to square up with people. Like, that's not my intention. I'm not really like somebody like want to be like, yo, let's fight. I am not. It really takes a lot in me to really want to fight somebody. It really does. I would really have to hate the shit out of you to really be like, yo, all right, let's go outside. I'm gonna fuck you up. But putting that aside, when encountering conflict in the workplace, I feel like a lot of times, especially when it comes to like, you know, something that's not really affecting people, as like who you're sleeping with, like, you know, like, why do you care who I'm fucking? Like, why are you pressed about that? Because I had this one time, and I'm gonna use a couple examples because they all have different scenarios, and they all, you know, kind of had the same ending in terms of how everything went. But with the first experience that I really had, that somebody really didn't like me when I came out at my first job, and there was like, you know, like interns that would come in the summer and help out, and I got really close to one, and we were just kikiing at work, you know, having a good time, joking around and shit. And this one dude in the other department was talking mad shit. Y'all, he was talking so much shit. I was just like, what? And she was telling me like, yo, and this is something I kind of like peeped a little bit, but I didn't really like think about it too much. But like, you know, every time we would work together, he would talk so much shit, and she'd be telling me like, yo, like, he's talking mad shit about you. I was like, word, like, damn, like, what's he saying? He's like, yo, he like, why you hanging out with that faggot, all that shit, like, don't be hanging out with them weird peoples like that, all types of shit. And at first I let it go. I was trying to be peacemaker or whatever, like, I ain't gonna make it a big deal. But this was going on for like at least a week or two, like, you know, a span of like a good 2 weeks or something like that. And I was just like, what's really going on? Like, so I remember one time I came in and, you know, we met up, we started working together, you know, we're in the front helping customers and shit. And, you know, then we go to the back and we start wrapping shit up. And then, you know, we're joking around, talking to each other. And then I think she went to get something on the other side. So then here comes this motherfucker saying some shit again. Oh, why you always hanging out with that faggot? Da da da, all this shit. So she came back to me like, yo, like, he's talking shit again. So I was like, you know what? Let me go say something. Because this is a small business too. Like, this isn't like a big company. This is like a small business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a decent sized place, but it's still a small business. It's you know, less than like 20, 30 people. It's not a lot of people. So I go over to the other side and I ask him like, hey, what's really the issue here? And then he starts acting like stupid, like, oh, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Da, da, da. I was like, yo, do you have a fucking problem with me? Do we have a fucking problem? And y'all, I've never felt so gangster in my life, because I was getting so loud with him. I was like, do we have a fucking problem? Because you're always talking some shit. And I'm confused because I barely talk to you. And the craziest thing was, I used to buy this dude lunch. Not like buying with my own money, but you know what I'm saying? When I would go on lunch, I'd be like, y'all want lunch? Who wants lunch? And I get lunch for everybody chipping their money. And, you know, I go get the lunch for everybody. And he would always, you know, like, hey, like, give me a little jerk chicken, give me a little, you know, oxtail or something like that. So I was like, all right. So I would always go bring food for them. So I'm just like, I've never had an issue with you before. So I'm like, I'm really talking crazy to him, like, yo, like, we've never had a fucking problem. So like, why is it that all of a sudden you want to talk all this shit? Like, it's not funny. So let me ask again, do we have a fucking problem? He's like, no, I don't want no problems, all this shit. So all of a sudden now his mouth isn't so hot, right? Now he's quiet. Now he wanna be a little meek and back off. So, you know, after that shit, I just, you know, walked away. And, you know, other coworkers was like, yo, like, you really lit him up, like, you really said what the fuck. Like, they were like, yo, like, you put him in his place. I was like, and I've never felt so empowered. Yo, I've never felt so empowered in my life, because I was just like, I'm not gonna keep putting up with people's bullshit. And you know, like a few weeks would pass, and like me and him wouldn't talk. He would be quiet with me, and I think one time like he had to ask me something, and I wasn't answering. I was like, he's asking me because he has to ask me something now. Now you need something from me. I'm like, and I continue working. I ignored his ass, and then the manager came like, okay, like whatever issue you guys have, can you guys just work it out? Like, can we just, what I'm saying, trying to be manager, trying to be peacemaker. I'm like, I don't want to hear all that. But I was like, it's cool. I'll let it go. Because at that point, now you realize I'm not no bitch. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I really get crazy. I ain't saying I want to swing on nobody, but like, don't try me. Please don't. So after that, he kind of died down with his bullshit, and life went on. And this was years ago. Life went on, and things were cool, and everything went back to normal. So that's one example where, when you stand up to somebody and you really put them in their place, all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, like, can't fuck with that person no more. And I think a lot of times, I want to say like LGBT people, sometimes we're like really pacifists about a lot of shit. And I'm like, nah, like y'all gotta light these motherfuckers up when they start getting crazy. Because one thing I would say, if they did it once, they'll do it again. That's just life. If they did it once, they can more than likely do it again, because if they feel like you didn't retaliate the first time, they might think you won't do it again. So these other two examples, I'm gonna kind of keep it a little short. I don't know how long I made that one, but these were when I was working. These two examples was when I was working in the Bronx, and I was working in production for a supermarket. And with the first one, I told like the first one, I think I told these stories in another video, like briefly, but like I want to give like the full details. I had this manager, he was mad goofy looking, like mad dumb looking, and he was like, I don't know like what his goal was, but he would always try to like pick on me. And I don't know if because like I was gay, or because he just simply didn't like me, but like he would always try to pick something out that I was doing. Like he was like, oh, you're not working fast enough, you just got here, you're not doing anything. Like he was always on my dick, y'all. Like I was honestly so confused. I'm like, bro, like what do you want from me? Like I'm confused. Like, can you go manage somewhere else? Like we already have a leadership in this room. Like we're good. Like we don't need you in here. Like trying to like micromanage everything. Like please go away. So this was going on for like months, and I didn't really say anything to him because he was just so obnoxious. So I remember like one time, like one of my other coworkers, he was mad cute too, but like and another thing I will say, like I want to like little side note, because like I think me being out in the workplace, I still, like, even like going back to the friendship part, I think I find it I have a hard time making friends with men, because sometimes I feel like I don't want dudes to think that I'm just trying to talk to them because I may like them, and in reality I'm like, no, I genuinely think you're a cool person. This guy, I did think he was a cool person. I did find him attractive too, and he was really nice to me, so it kind of was like mixed feelings. But for the most part, he was straight, so like, of course, like, I wasn't gonna do nothing anyways. Fuck, I'm gonna do kidnap you. But that coworker, he would always like offer me bread, like, cause sometimes they have extra bread. He worked in the baking section, so they have like extra bread and croissant and shit. He's like, yo, you want a bread? Like, get a bread. So I was going to the bathroom, and when I came back, I got the bread. I'm come back, and then I see this goofy ass manager. Yo, that's what you was doing? You supposed to be over there working. And I'm like, bro, like, mind you, like, the work is already done, and I have like less than like 45 minutes left, and I'm just like cleaning up and like, trying to get my shift done. It's literally like everything's already done, packed out, ready to go. Like what do you want from me? So I just like I curved his ass real quick, because I'm just like, I don't have time for this shit, you're annoying. And I just kept it pushing. So like the next day he comes to me like, oh, you can't be doing that, you can't be talking to doing all that to me. I'm like, what? Mind you, this manager was so fake, so malicious. I remember one time I accidentally left the bread in our cake room, and we're like, you're not supposed to have like mix. You're not supposed to like mix different foods in different areas. It's like this policy to have, like, I don't know. But one time I forgot it, and then I like this. I don't know why I thought he was trying to be nice to me. He was like, "Yo, like, I know you." He's like, "Yo, I know you left that bread there. Like, I threw it in the garbage for you, you know, so the cleaning lady, the inspector wouldn't see it." So I was like, "Oh shit, like my bad. Like, thank you so much." You know what I'm saying? And then this fake ass motherfucker reported me, talking about I was eating the bread in the workroom. I was mortified. My fucking lead came in like, "Yo, what the fuck did you tell him? Don't be telling him nothing. He mad fake. Don't talk to him." Cause you know they mean Brand Bronx with it. She's like, "Don't be talking to him. Like he mad fake. Don't talk to him. He weird." So after that, I really like completely just didn't fuck with this guy at all. Like he was like, I'm like, he obviously has something against me. I'm not sure what it is, but like I just don't want no problems. So this is the straw that broke the camel's back. We were working Mother's Day. We had over 300 orders to finish. Like, I think the whole day we probably had like maybe like 500, 600 cakes. And like everybody left. Nobody didn't want to really work overtime besides me and these two other guys. So we were working and chatting, kikiing, talking, all this bullshit, because this is after hours. This is past like 6 o'clock, you know, we're all past our time. But I was like, "Yo, let's just bust this out, get a little overtime and dip." So then he comes in like, "Oh, y'all doing a lot of talking and not a lot of working." Oh my god, here comes him again with the bullshit. I'm like, "What do you mean we're talking?" Like, I'm like, "Bro." And I was already like, because at that point, coworker number 2 was like, "What you talking about? Like, what? You sound silly." So he was like, "You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out." And he dipped. And I was like, "Oh my god. Now we lost one person. Good job." So then I started talking to him. I'm like, "Listen, sir, like, you're doing a lot of talking and you're not helping us. Could you pack some cupcakes? Could you start packing up orders? Could you start boxing cakes? Could you do something?" "Oh, that's not my job to do all this stuff." But I'm like, "Yeah, but you're talking all this shit, talking about a lot of talking, a lot of working, but you don't do anything. You can't even do a cake. You can't offer anything to help us. So like, you need to go away." "Oh, you're being real insubordinate and you can't talk to me like that. I'm the manager." I was like, "I don't care if you're the manager. You can't offer nothing. So what you need to do is start minding your business." I was coming in hot. I really did not give a fuck. I was like, "Y'all can fire me. I didn't give a fuck." I did not care. Because I was not about to deal with this man's bullshit no more. I'm like, "You need to leave us alone so we can work and finish what we gotta do. Because you're really annoying. Like you don't know what you're saying. You sound stupid. You don't like you're being, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not being a good manager." Like, I was roasting his ass. He's like, "You can't be talking to me like that, my nigga." I was there. Yo, I had him lit. I had him mad. I had him mad. We probably argued for like a good 10, 15 minutes. Like, I was going in on him. I was like, "You can't do nothing. You be sleeping in the office. You a bum." Like, I was like going in on him. I was really going in because I'm like, "Bro, like, I don't like you. Don't be talking to me." So after that, he got pissed and he left. He's like, "I'm gonna report you and all this shit." I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." So then, coworker number 3 was like, "Yo, like, you really like," I forgot what he said to me, but like, all I know is we just ended up busting them cakes out and leaving maybe like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. Yo, we were supposed to be out there by like 6 o'clock. So the next day, I'm in the supervisor's office with him, my lead, and you know the supervisor and like other managers, and we're like trying to break down what's happening. And I'm just like, I don't like him. He has a problem with me. I know what his problem is, but he needs to leave me alone. Like, you don't do what I do. You don't do what we do. You can't offer nothing, but you got a lot to say. That don't make a lot of sense. And, you know, I think one thing I will say, this is why I'm chiming back to the friendship part. because I was friends with the lead of our room. But we were all cool, and you know what I'm saying, like we all knew how to work and get the work done. Like we all got along. So she was able to really genuinely defend me because she was like, you know what, so like he has been picking on him for a while, and I don't know what his problem is, but like it's been a lot. Like I don't know why, but I don't know what's his problem with him, but like I just don't know why he got a problem with Ray and all this shit. So, and in that moment I was so happy. I was like, finally someone's sticking up for me. Like, thank you. Granted, like she always has, and like, you know, like really dope person that I've worked with over those years. So like I will never forget that person. And you know, in the aftermath of that situation, this manager actually got transferred. So they transferred his bitch ass to a different store, and I was super happy. I was just like, oh my god, thank God. So that was my W, and you know, life went back to normal. I didn't get written up or nothing like that. Like, you know, they were like, all right, cool. And before I even knew he got transferred, they were just like, okay, cool. Like, we understand what's going on, and you know, we'll get back to you. And then, you know, later on, I found out he got transferred or whatever the case may be, and you know, I didn't get written up or nothing like that, and everything was good, and everything went back, you know, to normal. So, like I said, when it comes to these situations, it's up to you whether or not you want to be confrontational or not. If you want to be a pacifist and, you know, be, you know, all kumbaya and akuna matata and all that shit, like that's up to you. But all I know is that doesn't always get you far. Sometimes it can, you know, like being a bigger person on that shit, but sometimes you gotta let a motherfucker know I will fuck you up. And I'm not even like, I ain't even no way to fuck nobody up, but I'ma try if you keep messing with me. I wonder how long this video is, so hold on. Okay, it's 27 minutes, not super long yet. But the last conflict that I had with a coworker, and this is the same place. So after that, the person that was leadership, she wasn't able to keep that position anymore. She had a lot of personal issues going on, so she wasn't able to retain it. And I think she got like upgraded to like a different position or something like that. But then somebody else from a different department got it, and then now they're working with us. So now this man's in charge. He's an older man too. And I didn't necessarily have a problem with him at first, but just over time, like I just really didn't start to like really like his energy or nothing or anything like that. I just didn't mesh with it. But for the most part, like we were pretty cordial. And then I think something happened. Like we had like an intern come in, and she had a problem with a coworker, and she confided in this leadership. And she said, "Hey, like I don't want anything to go get out of control. Just please talk to him personally, and let him know that I don't want to communicate with them, X, Y, Z, whatever the case may be." So I guess he didn't like the guy either, so he took it to management and got him fired. So at the end of the day, that's kind of out of my control what other people do. So I couldn't really like take that too personal, because at the end of the day, like, you know, people have the right to make reports like that over different situations. So my main thing with him was he was super lazy, and he would always act like he's the big shot. And I'm like, bro, you're not really putting in your weight, so could you please stop? You know what I mean? Like, he was super lazy. He did the bare minimum. I'm like, are you really the person that's supposed to manage this place? And like low-key, like I was supposed to get that position, you know, or like I was being considered for it to manage it, but I didn't get it. He got it. And at the end of the day, I'm not mad over it. But I was salty at the fact that he was a lazy motherfucker and he didn't want to do shit. Like, god damn. It'd be like the people that don't want to do the job that be getting the jobs. I don't be understanding that. But anyways, so we've like ran into problems a few times because he don't want to be doing nothing, and then I'm like, hello, like we have stuff to do, like, and he didn't like that because at the end of the day, he wanted to be the ones calling the shots. And I'm like, okay, cool, you gotta call the shots, but you gotta know what the fuck you're saying, because like you don't work in this department a lot before you came leadership in this department. So you know what I'm saying, like sometimes people gotta humble themselves a little bit, just a little bit. That's my opinion. But we just started to butt heads on a lot of things because it was just like I would find solutions for things and he just wouldn't like that, and he kind of felt like I was undermining him. And sometimes it was on purpose because I didn't like him. But like, you know, what I was suggesting was not, you know, an offense or anything like that. I remember one time like we ran out of like a specific whipped cream that we use for the cakes. And so he's like, no, we'll just not make the orders anymore. And I'm like, no, like we could just use this alternative, which is pretty much the same thing, just a little less potent, that we have in the fridge or whatever on the other side, because other departments have different stuff. So I'm like, let's just use their stuff, and you know, like they'll replace it so we can still get these orders out and we don't have to short any of the stores. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna wait for this to come in. Da, da, da. I'm like, are you sure? Like that's a lot of product that they're gonna be losing for a day or two. Like we could just use this as a replacement. No, we don't want to do that. So I go to the supervisor. I was like, no, like, so supervisor, like, can we do this? Supervisor's like, yeah, cool, do it. So me and my other coworker, I was like, yo, let's get these boxes because homeboy over here ain't too right in the brain. And yes, it was a little bit confrontational, but like, what are you doing? Get it together. So I came in, I brought a box of the replacement cream, and he's like, no, we're not fucking using that shit. I said, we ain't using that shit, da da da. He started to make this whole stinker. And he went to the supervisor to complain. And then you know, the supervisor called me over. He's like, you know, like whatever, like just let him be, like it's fine, you know, the stores don't have to get it, it's okay, like it won't fall on you, it's fine. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So that was kind of our first issue. And I think just, you know, we've had other issues like here and there. Like one time he was talking shit about like my table being messy, and I'm like, well, it's my table, but he was trying to like embarrass me some shit. And I'm just like, okay, cool, I see what time you're on. So I just left my dirty ass table and I went home. Cause he's like, look at this nasty ass shit, look at this fucking table. So I was like, okay. Dropped everything and I left. And then, you know, the people in the front desk are like, why are you leaving? What happened? It's a little early. I'm like, I gotta go. It's like something came up. I gotta go. So after that, the next day, he was quiet. He was not saying no shit to me because he's like, oh shit, this person's for real. I'm like, yeah, I'm for real. Don't fuck with me because I'm not somebody to be fucked with. So the last straw, because I mean, like, we've had like little incidents here and there, like build up to this issue, but like, oh my god, he was so obnoxious, guys. So I had a coworker I was really close with. I still am, but he was talking mad shit like, why these cakes look like this, and who did this, and they mad sloppy, da 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 da. And I'm like, I don't know why you're going so hard trying to embarrass somebody. And it's like, you know who did it. So why are you trying to make a public spectacle when you could have been like, hey, like, you know, can you do this a little bit better? Like, why are you trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? Why are you trying to embarrass people on another level where I'm just like, you're not even that good. So how are you sitting here talking shit on somebody else? And I'm like, you're not even all that. So she had a meltdown, and she was just like, because she really got upset over that. So she had a meltdown. She was just like, and then she just walked the fuck out. And then he started talking shit. Oh, well, if these look better, this wouldn't be an issue. Da 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 da. And if everybody did their work, and then I was just like, all right, cool. I have to say something. So this is when I was getting real like upset. So I was just like, but what do you do? And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, but what do you really do? Because last time I checked, you don't do much. You do the bare minimum, and you're sitting here talking shit on somebody else working. So what's really going on here? And he's like, don't be fucking talk to me like that. I'll punch you in your fucking face. All this shit. So I was like, you gonna punch me in my face? So punch me in my face. Because at this point, we're like, I'm screaming. I'm like, so punch me in my fucking face. Punch me in my face. Because I'm like, you sitting here talking real crazy to me, so do it. I'm right here. And guess what? I stood right there. And I worked. And I'm sitting there waiting for him to do it. You gonna do it? Because he walked around the whole workroom and walked right the fuck back around past me. As I fucking thought. Because you were gonna touch who? And like I said, and I think after this situation happened, because we had a way more exchange of words and shit like that, but I think he really had the realization that, yo, like he's not a bitch, because he was talking so much shit that day too. And it's crazy, like, because I had a coworker telling me, and I should have said this earlier, because she was informing me, like, hey, like, he was talking mad shit about you, like, oh, like, why is Ray such a bitch? Because he's gay, and, you know, I don't like gay people and all that shit. Like, they can go on, you know, all this homophobic shit. And, you know, fine, people can talk all that shit, but, you know what I'm saying? Because I brought it up too, because I was like, you were saying a lot of shit earlier about me, but what's up now? What's up now? Because it wasn't the same energy. Because all of a sudden, you didn't realize I was going to talk real crazy and get real loud. Because you sitting there threatening me, and you thought I was going to be like, ooh, don't punch me in your face. Like, no, like, listen, I'm a person. I'm a whole human being. Like, so if you want to square up, like, I'm not against that. None. And like I said before, I'm not somebody that's out to fight people. I don't go out starting conflicts. But I had to really learn, when people start conflicts, you got to end them. You, like, and especially when they're very adamant about certain things, you kind of have to be the person to put them in their place, because sometimes being the bigger person doesn't get you as far as, you know, like, realistically speaking, it doesn't always go where it needs to go, unfortunately. So I think with that situation, after that, he really kind of calmed down, and he just stopped really messing with me, and he kind of just understood what kind of person I was, and what, not necessarily what I was capable of, because at the end of the day, I ain't fight nobody. But he kind of realized, oh shit, like, he might be about something. And I think that's kind of the biggest deterrent in terms of a lot of these people that really want to start shit with you because you're gay or whatever, or you're trans or whatever the issue may be. Like, once you confront a bully, a lot of the times they don't know how to handle that. And time again, I've, you know, not that I've always had issues with people. It's, you know, it comes here and there. It happens. But when you stand up for yourself, people do. They kind of start backing off, because they start to go in their head, yo, oh man, I can't mess with this person. Oh man, like, this person isn't really what I thought they were gonna be. Like, they actually stood up to me, and I'm like, but, and they start to get scared and afraid, and not necessarily like, oh, like, they're shaking in their boots, because now they realize, oh shit, like, this person swings back, this person doesn't take shit. And a lot of times that's what bullies want. They want people to just be there and take their shit in, and they try to shit on and mess with them and all this stuff. Hell no, not me. Been there, done that. That's high school, middle school, but this is adult world. We're all adults. If you don't like me for whatever reason, that's fine, but, like, you can keep that to yourself. Because at the end of the day, like, if you not liking me, it's not the end of my world. You don't like me, you don't like me. Period. If I don't like you, I don't like you. Why do you need to announce that? Who cares? Why do you care so much? Like, what? You're weird. So, like I said, after that issue, we've never really had problems with that. And a few months after that, I left the job anyway, because there were, like, company issues and stuff like that. So I just ended up leaving anyways. But I am, like, one thing I will say, I never regretted any of those situations where I stood up where I stood up for myself. And a lot of times I never got in trouble for it. I really haven't. Like, I've never really, like, I didn't experience any backlash from, you know, me standing up for myself, and, you know, me being honest and respecting myself enough to know that I'm not going to take shit from people. And so far, it's paid off for me. So I think this video is already like super long, but those are like the few issues that I have, like conflicts that I've have. You know, I have like other ones, but they're not as big. These are kind of like my main three, and they kind of all result in the same thing: the person backing the fuck up and realizing, oh shit, like this person is not to be messed with. So I think I just want to leave one last note. I think if you are in the workplace and maybe you are out and maybe you're not necessarily as confrontational as me, I don't want to say I necessarily am. I've had my deer in headlights moments, but one thing I will say, like, I learn real quick. And if you don't feel like you're there yet, I completely understand, but I will say you should probably learn fast. And maybe if you're not like confident in your strength or whatever the case may be, or you feel like, you know, or you feel like maybe you can't fight or something like that, like, y'all listen. When it comes to, like, if you have to defend yourself, real talk, defend yourself, do what you gotta do. But don't, I think in a workplace, I really want to say 9 times out of 10, people aren't really trying to fight. They're not. Even like the most aggressive situations I've had, people really wasn't trying to fight. It takes a special kind of like conflict for people to really start swinging. It really takes a special conflict. So don't let people minimize you and belittle you because they feel like you can. Always stand up for yourself. Words from Ray Ray, okay? So, all that aside, the last thing I want to talk about is liking and finding love in the workplace. And I'm not saying like I've had relationships at work, no. But, you know, everybody's have different situations, and I want to say mine and what potentially could have been something but not happen or whatever. But we're just going to talk about, like, you know, having crushes and, you know, approaching guys and things like that, and, you know, that kind of thing. So I think for the most part, I've had about 3 to 4 encounters with guys that I knew liked me. I think for the most part, I've really only ever pursued one. Nothing really ever came of it, but I've only really ever pursued one in terms of the workplace. So with my first job, and I think like when you're working, and this is why I like to be out in the workplace, because like when I go to work, like I have my pride pins on my fucking hats. I don't give a fuck. Like I let people know like this is probably homosexual, and that's fine because I don't want people questioning me or like asking me dumbass questions. And you know, I feel like it just eliminates a lot of questions sometimes, and it puts you in that category. Like if somebody didn't like you, then they just wouldn't approach you anyways. So like, you know, when somebody talks to you and all that stuff, they don't have like a prejudice against you. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of why like I like putting like LGBT stuff on like my clothing and stuff like that. It's not necessarily because I'm trying to like seek attention. Sometimes I'm just trying to deflect from people that may not like me or may have a problem with me, just to like not approach me at all. Like, so that's kind of like my main thing. It just for the most part, it just eliminate questions. So back to you know, crushes and guys like that. I think my first and only really ever encounter that I really pursued, nothing really happened with that. It was my first job, and I kind of noticed like the guy, like he liked me because I noticed like the eye contact. And eye contact is super important in terms of fishing out a guy to know whether or not he likes you or not. And I think, you know, I've heard people say like 3 seconds staring, all that stuff. And like recently, this is like recent, like this is like literally like this week. I had a new coworker at one of my jobs, And I don't know how long he been there, because sometimes I work different times and different hours, so like I don't always come in like the same days and shit like that. So like I just happen to be there in the daytime, and I notice him, and he's cute. Like he's cute. I don't know how old he is, but like, you know, he's cute. Like he's a good looking guy, and I'm not necessarily like trying, like I just met him. I'm not trying to pursue anybody or like anything like that. But I noticed that he would grill me. Like he would just look at me a lot. And at first I thought it was in my head. And then I think throughout the day I just was like observing. I was like, well, you know, because I was confiding in a coworker, and I was like, do you think he's gay? Like, like what's the tea with him? And she's telling me like, I think so. Like, you know, like he's been funny lately. So I'm just like, oh, word, really? So then I kind of started paying a little bit more attention. So I like one time, like throughout the day, like I would be up and down the stairs, going through the basement, going upstairs. So I go back to the basement because one of my coworkers want to start some bullshit with me, and I was like, oh, you in a war? You in a war? So we're like messing around, being stupid. And I'm walking down, and I'm just seeing him, like he's just checking me out so hard, and he's just like, you know what I'm saying, like that look. And I was just like, and I didn't say anything. Like I might say something sooner or later, I don't know. Just depends how I feel. And certain things, like it depends on the comfortability of the guy, because sometimes, a lot of times, guys do it and they'll check you out, but they're not necessarily ready to be out at work, or like or want to like really pursue their feelings and shit like that. So like, you know, at the end of the day, like when it's first encounters, like you have to really get to know a person, because at the end of the day, like he don't know me. I could have a whole boyfriend, I could be this X, Y, and Z, but like I think because I'm out at work, he already, like, he didn't have to assume anything about me, because he's like, okay, like he knows I'm gay. So like, and I don't have to think about it too hard, because I'm like, well, you know I'm gay, and everybody here you know knows I'm gay. So if I'm seeing you like looking at me hella hard, I'm like, you checking me out? Because I'm gonna think that now, because it's like, what else am I supposed to think? So I just noticed he been oogling me all day, and at the end of the day, like I don't like to jump the gun. So this is one of those situations where I kind of have to study a little bit more, and I'll give you guys updates later. But it's just something I wanted to mention to you guys. But I really wanted to talk about one of my coworkers that I know in the Bronx, and he wasn't exactly my type, but for some reason I did like him. He was a nice guy. He was really sweet to me. He was a little bit older. I was in my early 20s, and he was kind of like in his mid 30s. So I was like, I just couldn't really see that happening. And I just think I had a lot of prejudices at the time when it comes to dating, and you know, not necessarily like a racial prejudice or anything like that. I just, you know, there was like things that I wasn't really about, you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't really about that serious dating life at the time. But sometimes I would talk to my coworkers like, hey, like, do you think he's cute? Or like, you know, like, he's kind of cute. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of like talk about it. And I had a coworker, she's like, oh, you have eyes for him? You have eyes for him? And I don't know, like, if he heard that from somebody else that I liked him, or maybe through my general interactions with him, because I would mess with him all the time. And I think that was just like how I just show love to people. Like when I really like somebody, like I would mess with them. Like I mess with their hats, I like smack them and shit, and like I would, like, that's kind of like how I show love sometimes, especially when I don't know how to say it. So every time, like, I would walk in the office and I'd have a question for him, like, yo, like, I would like tap his head or something like that, or like, you know, be like, yo, like, I would always just mess with him. So I remember one time, I think he kind of came up to me and he asked me like, hey, like, you know, do you want to go out? You want to go out to like eat sometimes, or, you know, do something with me, you know, maybe in an off day or something like that. And I kind of just scoffed and was like, no. And he's like, you don't want to? Like, you know, let's do something. Like I said, he wasn't really my type, but like for some reason I did like him, but I didn't want to. And this is kind of one of my biggest regrets, was not pursuing it, because this is literally like the only time ever somebody's ever like approached me. Any other time I've had like encounters with men were online. This was like he really, like, this guy stuck his fucking neck out. Like, he stuck his whole neck out, guys, and he was like, he took a whole chance, and like he wasn't even like out at work or anything like that. Like, he was just, you know, like, he was pretty much, he kind of kept to himself for the most part. And he really stuck his neck out. He's like, yo, like, let's go out sometime and let's do something outside of work. And I think just the way I responded to him was, I think now I'm kind of disappointing in myself, because I think maybe I have FOMO. Maybe I have a little bit of FOMO, because I feel like what could have been if I had said yes. But it's too late now. He kind of blocked me on a lot of shit. I don't think he wants to talk to me anymore. But I really regretted that. And I try not to have like, I try to like lower my superiority complex when it comes to men, because I was just trying to like find every single reason not to like him. Oh, he's not my type, he's out of shape, I don't really do guys like that, like I was trying to find everything in the book. But in reality, what attracted me most to him was he was a genuinely nice guy. And like he treated me well. He was really he really treated me nice. And like he wasn't like toxic or anything like that. Like he was a really stand-up person. So I just really found it attractive. And I think me in that moment, I was just like so shallow and just so stuck up. I just really felt like I made a mistake. And like, who's to say it would have worked out? But I felt like, I think the worst thing I kind of did in that moment was not give him or myself a chance to even just see if we could be like friends or anything like that outside of work. Like, we might not have been a couple or anything like that, but like we could have been friends. That could have been a really great friendship or whatever the case may be. You never know. And it's not like he was trying to like fraternize or at work or anything like that. He's like, hey, let's go out, let's have a dinner. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he would be at work trying to like ogle me and shit. It wasn't like that. So I really try to let go of that superiority complex, because, and I want to say that to you guys as well, not trying to lecture anybody, I try my best to give people chances now, because you never know, like, when you'll feel something for somebody. Sometimes you don't. I've been in situations where I haven't felt, the same love and affection for somebody. But I've been in situations like this where I completely thought the person was not the person for me, and looking in hindsight, I was just like, oh shit, like, imagine like if I said yes, like what would have been the possibilities. So guys, don't write yourself off. Please don't ever write yourself off. Always like give yourself a chance before you say no, because you never know. And I think I want to like touch a few bases on the last couple of things before I end this video, because outside of that, like I said, like that's the only person ever, like, y'all, I'm 26, that's ever really like came up to me and approached me. I think I've had like a few other times I'd known somebody in public, and like we've talked, and like we, what I'm saying, like maybe I've dated or something like that, but like he's the only guy to ever come up to me and be like, yo, let's go out. Like that takes so much balls, especially because I'm like, there's already so much stigma against like being gay or bisexual or all this shit. And I'm like, he really said, I'm going in guns blazing, I'm gonna take my chance, because he knew I liked him too. He knew I liked him. And I think the main reason I didn't want to do it was because I felt like our age gap was a little bit too big. I think that was it more than anything else. I didn't really care too much if he was out of shape or anything like that. I think it was just the age gap. I think it was just a little bit too much in my head. And it was like 13 years. I think my max is 10. That's what I tell myself. But like, he was like 13 years older than me. And I think overall, I still kind of wish I like talked to him and gave him a chance. Even if it didn't work out, or it did, you know, I mean, it obviously wouldn't work now, because, you know, we already both moved on and shit. But, you know, I kind of try to like let go of these perceptions of like a perfect relationship and things like that, because no relationship is perfect. There's gonna always be something that you lack or the other person lacks, or maybe they won't have everything exactly that will match what you want. But you will never know if you met somebody that you really could really enjoy and be with until you give them a chance. And I'm kind of just at this phase in my life where I'm trying to open myself up to different possibilities, and I'm not trying to shut people out of my life, and I'm not trying to push people away, because I feel like even now, like in my current job, because I don't know how long I'm going to be in my current job, but it's kind of like where I socialize the most with people, and I get to meet different people each day. And, you know, I have a few like guys I have my eyes on, but like I don't know them, and they work in different departments. I don't really get to talk to them. And like this one time, I'm walking to clock out for break, and I see one guy I really like, and he's super cute too. Like, geez, he's really cute. And I start to get like weak in the knees and shit. I'm like, fuck, and I like start walking all stupid and shit. I'm looking mad crazy. And it's not like a super obvious like, but like I'm like, I really was feeling weak in the knees. I was like, damn, yo, like this dude has an effect on me. And this other time, this other guy, he's like Hispanic. I don't know where he's from. I kind of don't want to ask because I don't want to make it awkward. Because I like we would always like see each other like in the locker room like briefly, and like he would go to his way, I go my way. I don't know his name, nothing like that. And like I said, when I go to work, I have my pride pins, all that shit, you know what I'm saying? And granted, just because you have a pride pin doesn't mean like you're gay. It's not an indicator anymore. Like it could just mean you're an ally, or you're supportive of whatever, of the LGBT community, or whatever the case may be. It's not a direct indicator that somebody's gay. Or like just because I have my ears pierced, these are not necessarily direct indicators. But like little shit like what people do, like because then I was like throwing garbage out, and then he was throwing garbage out too. And then he said, hey, what's up? How are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing good, you know. And then that was the conversation. But, and like I said, these are not deep conversations. Like, this isn't something to like think about hardcore. But me, being the person I am, I'm like, oh shit, like he spoke to me. Oh my God, why is he talking to me? What does this mean? What does this mean? Like, me starting to fucking do math equations in my fucking brain and shit. And I'm just like, damn, like, why am I going, like, why do I get like that? That's so crazy. But I really wish, like, there was more settings where I would be able to talk to, like, different people at work. Because I do like to communicate. And sometimes I like to fish. Because, you know, I like to figure out shit about people. But I really can't because, like, I don't know them and we don't work in the same department. But, I think if something would ever happen, or, like, they approach me, or maybe, like, or I feel like they want to talk, or whatever, for some reason we happen to end up talking, I definitely would be more inclined to like figure things out and ask them more shit, just to kind of see like where they stand, because the bitch is nosy and the bitch is kind of lonely, so why not? But that's gonna be the end of this video. I don't know how long this video is. This might be infamously long, but I hope you guys got something out of this video, because this video was hella long. I was considering it, breaking it up in different pieces, but I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do a long video, and that's gonna be on what period. So thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys, and I have a few videos I'm editing now, so I might not record a video for a while. You know, honesty, I'm gonna record here and there, but like it might be car videos. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting me. And as always, see you guys in the next video.